Hey everybody, and welcome to a different kind of video for this channel. I came across a really cool game, and it just came out about 3 or 4 weeks ago. It's called Superliminal from the folks at Pillow Castle Games, and honestly, I am a huge fan of it, and I've only played a little bit of it, so I'm excited to show you what it is we are going to do in this video. So anyways, enough about me. Let's go ahead and start a new game, and we'll see what it's all about. I'm going to turn up some of the audio. I turned it down. There we go. There we go. Music and sound effects and UI volume. It's pretty good. So I am playing on the release beta build. So it's the first build that the folks at Pillow Castle released. I have the Steam version. And this game has everything to do with solving puzzles, but most importantly, and the reason why I am talking about it on my channel is because it has 100% to do with depth perception, perspective, all the things that I talk about in my sensation and perception class. And I wanted to make sure I got this warning, so just in case, pause on that and then play it if you feel.
Filled with feelings of self-doubt, do you find yourself prone to minimizing massive dilemmas, or for allowing the smallest problems to get blown completely out of proportion? At the Pierce Institute, our patent-pending somnosculpt technology provides safe and effective dream therapy while you rest in the comfort of our flagship clinic. Located right next to the secondary overflow parking lot at the University Medical Center. Somnosculpt will make your dreams come true.
So the premise of the game is that you are going in for a sleep reconfiguration or something like that, so you can stop having any issues with, I guess, insomnia or something like that. But the game is actually really fun. So first things first, we have to sign the terms of service. We are currently in the dreamscape. So we are in a dreamscape right now. So we sign the terms of service, and we get to go through these really strange rooms. Very cold and menacing. So I want to show you how this works. Okay, so we have 4 pawns and a light. All right, these pawns are kind of these pawns are actually kind of big, but this is how perspective works in this game. So I've grabbed this pawn, right, and now I'm gonna bring it over. And if I were in a real life situation, if I drop this pawn, it would be the same size and it would drop right in front of me. But because I'm not in a real life situation, if I drop this pawn from this height, look how big it is now. If I go up to it, look how big it is. That's giant. Now, I can make it even bigger by putting it over here. It's getting light from the thing. And now, if I were to drop it, it should fall right in front of me. But because this game chooses forced perspective, it's now giant, and I've knocked over the lamp and all of the other pawns, and the paper fell on the ground. But the cool thing is, without without doing anything, I can make this super tiny back again if I just force the perspective. Now, this may seem familiar to you. Look how small I've gotten it. This may seem familiar to you if you've seen the Ames room before. Now, I want to go ahead and plop the Ames room idea on the screen here. So it's just going to be the Ames, an image of the Ames room. Voila. See if I can edit that. Great. Anyways, so here is the Ames room and how it looks to the observer to be, because they look through a very thin slit or an eye hole, that it looks to be a rectangular room. And you can play with our depth perception based on where things are in that room. But if you were to look at it at a top scale, you would see that it is a room that is sort of a misshapen polygon. It's a quadrilateral with non-right angles in two of its angles. We have two 90-degree angles on the observer side, and then one large obtuse angle, and then a very far away acute angle in this polygon. And when people stand against the back of the room, people look really, really small or really, really big, depending on which corner they are standing on. And that's sort of what this game is trying to do, is play with that idea of forced perspective. So here's this giant rook, and I really enjoy the use of chess pieces in here, because we all have, and this is the second property that I want to talk about depth perception. We all have an idea of the size of chess pieces. We have an idea of what they are supposed to look like. And so when they look super giant.
Terms of service accepted. Congratulations on falling asleep. Welcome to Somnasculpt. Your progress may be monitored by qualified specialists. This orientation will adapt you to eyelids, our interactive, lucid induction dream state in which you retain full consciousness and control.
So we've entered into a lucid state. So the idea is that we are under control of our own gameplay. We are under control of that, and we are making sure that we do things properly. And that's the solving of puzzles. Now, you may notice that I'm doing some things that I've already done before, and that is because I've played this level. I just wanted to put that on there. I think it's fun. Here's a bishop. Put them right next to each other. I just need to go up through that door, so I made a little staircase that I can jump, because I can jump on things. Whee! See, I'm on top of that box. Anyways, as I was saying before, I got rudely interrupted by this person. So we have ideas about the sizes of things. And that's why I really like them using these chess pieces, because we have an idea of what chess pieces should have size. Yeah, I know there are like, there are like giant chessboards that you can get at parks. But honestly, it's most of the chess pieces that you come across are hand-sized. So this speaks to the idea of monocular depth perception. And the reason why we're focusing on monocular depth perception and not binocular depth perception is the fact that we only have one eyeball. The screen that I'm moving around here, my mouse and the cursor, the white cursor that shows you where I'm looking, is one eyeball. I assume we have two, like a normal human being, but we're only using one. So we can't actually use the idea of binocular depth perception to help us in this. And so we only have clues about depth and distance from one eyeball, because that's what we have. And so that's the kind of cues that we are using to navigate these puzzles. And I think that's brilliant. So we have familiar size. We have things like familiar heights to deal with. We have, I'm sure there are other motion-based monocular cues later in this game that I haven't gotten to yet. So here's one puzzle where you have to stand on this, but if I stand on it and then step off of it, I can't get it. So what I need to do is actually stand off to the side and grab this too, because again, I shouldn't be able to grab it, but I can. And then we need to make it bigger so it's heavy enough to stand on here for us. And voila, we have solved a puzzle. Now, the other thing we need to do is we need to grab it again. And because we're in a dream state, it doesn't actually matter. I need to make this much bigger. So we can make it bigger by backing up and keeping it in the same place. Because what I need to do is I need to get it big enough for me to jump on to. And that's what makes this game so amazing, because we're talking about relative heights as well. So using the known size of the room to figure out how big this item should be if we were to hold it. But because it just stays in front of us, no matter where we move, it is being forced to change size based on that. And I can actually rotate it if I wanted to. Oh, is this one not going to... Oh, you have to hold it down. So I can rotate it and be 2B, but you can see that it stays in the same spot. And then depending on where I put it in the room, it gets bigger or smaller, depending on what I'm looking at. Relative heights there. So make it a little bit bigger and drop it right there, and I should be able to get up. Yep. And this is a cool little Easter egg here. This pawn that you see isn't actually movable in any way. It looks like it's sitting there, but then again, it's one of those forced perspective.
Confirm. You can move freely, interact with surrounding objects, and listen to messages from your patient care team. Please note that I am the standard orientation protocol and that my voice has been explicitly chosen to remind you that I am not a part of your patient care team. I do not care.
I love that little bit. That's so funny. So these little windows here prevent you, these little, I guess force fields is what they're called, prevent you from bringing objects through. And so you have to basically use them appropriately. So I need to grab this guy. I'm going to grab this guy, and that door goes here. And that worked. Okay. I'm assuming the puzzles get much, much harder. I'm assuming they get significantly harder. So I kind of want to use more. And then you saw the floppy disk, which doesn't make a lot of sense, is saving my progress as I go through this. So hold right click to rotate. So it looks like what we need to do is put the cheese to get up there. Huh. That's a lot. I'm not entirely sure how to solve this one. Oh, it's a ramp. So what I need to do is make it massive. So I can use it as a ramp. So I'm just going to keep growing it in size. As big as I can. That's getting there. I love this elevator music, by the way. It's too far away. Okay, it's too far away. But the size that I need, so keep it as big as I can and then drop it. The good news is I can't die.
During eyelids, you will lose the ability to awaken suddenly due to realizing that this is a dream. Evidence: I have already informed you that this is a dream. You did not wake up. Please complete the remaining orientation activities.
That was a tautology, but that's okay. Cool. It's 0:42 a.m. That should be a 00, to be honest with you. 0:23, 12:05. Lots of clocks. Cool. Oops. I'm a little laggy with the mouse, so I apologize if if you're getting a little seasick. I'm trying my best. Okay. So it looks like we need to reduce the size of this just to say. It looks like we need to reduce. Oh. Let's drop that down. Oh, that's interesting. Just gonna, I can walk through with just the one. Okay, so just to say, we need to get in here. Oh, okay. So we need to make this block very tiny. And how I do that is force my perspective into a corner, drop it, keep dropping it in that corner, and it makes it very tiny. It's supposed to make it very tiny. Back it up, and then back it in. Look how tiny it is. Uh-oh. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that was going to do that. Make it tiny. I think it's still too big. Is that too big still? Let's see. No, I think that's good. Okay, well, that's open. I still want to check through here.
Warning: you have deviated from the orientation pathway. At the Pierce Institute, patient safety is a keynote in our corporate priority tetrahedron. A variable degree of force can and will be authorized to ensure patient safety. Please return to the orientation pathway.
I want one of these sodas. I'm betting you need it. I'm betting you need it. Oh, can I not bring the soda with me? No, I want to bring the soda with me. Dang. All right. Huh. Interesting little room. You can just grab things. It's so funny. Can I not put it there? Oh. Ooh, I can. I need to make it a little bit smaller. Come on, you can do it. I'm assuming this is what I have to do. Oh, almost. Dibbity-dip-a-doo. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that is what I'm supposed to be doing. It's very difficult, though. There we go.
All environments perceived during eyelids should reflect a typical mental state. If you believe your mental state was compromised by Somnasculpt, please provide a comprehensive, rational explanation in your post-procedural survey. Completed surveys may be eligible for a gift card.
Ooh, I want an actual gift card. That would be amazing. I know. That's not real, of course. Really? No objects beyond this point at all times. This is an interesting rule, I suppose. An interesting rule. Hey everyone. So I wanted to share with you, before we ended this video, a sped up version of the gameplay that I did in stream. So this is kind of like a time lapse of me going through. So it's a little choppy and it's a little, wild. So if you get motion sickness, maybe don't play this. So I wanted to talk about this sped up version because there were a lot more aspects to the game that I wanted to talk about with respect to sensation and perception. And there's some pauses here. There's a big chunk where I end up not figuring out what's going on, so I'm just going back and forth. There's no audio associated with this because while I was streaming, I was talking to people in chat. And my son came down and he started talking, and you can hear him in the I guess the audio. So I kind of want to just do this. So in this particular room, we have two. That one had two things that needed to be open, so you had to make the sign really big. And make sure it landed on both things. In this room, so this is essentially the end of the orientation. So there wasn't much in between the actual slow gameplay of the of the basic video that I created for explaining the game. And in this case, I just basically continued from where I ended that video. And essentially what's happening is I tried to use the cheese to make a ramp, but essentially it just broke down those things. And so now we're just exploring and going through. And generally speaking, the game is pretty good about directing you to places. So here we are now. We've woken up in a room, and you'll note once we wake up into it, we can't go into any other rooms, and we're in some sort of doctor's office, and I'm sort of walking around and making sure I don't miss anything. Here, my son and I are choosing which cans to play with. And they sound empty, by the way. And now we're in this like weird shining. It totally reminded me of The Shining. And it appears to me that there's a lot of cloud imagery in this game. And there appeared to be one room, one hallway that we could go down, but we were floating up, so we could not get into that. And then here's this really cool concave, convex illusion that I think the developers of this game, same here, it turns out it was a hallway, and we find out that this hotel is just some sort of setup in the dreamscape, which I think is also pretty cool. And here is where I got completely confused on what to do. So I was, I will say that like I was very confused on what I should do. So there's fire extinguishers and fire alarms that you can pull, and they don't seem to do anything. I'm not entirely sure if there's going to be an Easter egg later in the game. Obviously, I'll have to play the game a little bit more. So I'm going through, I'm trying every little thing, completely forgetting until somebody in chat, one of my students in chat says, you could pick up the exit signs. Because that's what we did. We picked in the orientation, we use the exit sign to make it big so it could hit both floor switches at the same time. So here I'm just like, I'm going through, I'm trying to figure it out. Jumping on things and trying to climb on things, and nothing seems to be working. Here I make I try to get the door through. These walls, as you just saw, don't allow objects to pass through. These, not these walls, but these doorways, they kind of have force fields on them. And I'm trying to make this thing as small as possible, maybe get it up and over the door like you do in part of the orientation earlier in the video. I'm going back through, making sure that I've hit all of the fire alarms, and I'm trying to go to see, that looks like the exit, but I can't get down. There's no way that you can float down in there, and this door says some doors are meant to be closed. I go back into the office area, and I making sure that I hit the fire extinguishers as well. You can like click them 3 different times, and they exhaust their things. And so again, I'm going back and forth, and I think the 2 really cool things about this hotel level are the fake exit door, which is like kind of like those T-Rexes that are actually concave. But when you look at them at the right angle, they actually look like they're coming out at you. So that's what that is. And then this hallway is also an optical illusion, messing with depth, of course, where it's sort of hidden in a sense. And then until you walk through it, here I'm just trying to do stuff with the can. And it was at this point that I was like, I am missing something incredible. And it turned out, once we pick up the exit sign here, I'm trying to play with the can. I thought the cans, I don't know if there's any usefulness of the cans. You get them from the vending machine and they look empty. They're empty. So I don't know if I don't know if they'll become relevant later in the game, but I'm just going through, double checking that I got all of the fire extinguishers, pulled all of the fire alarms, trying to do stuff with these movable doors, and it's just not working. I'm not really a fan. Maybe I should have cut out some of this stuff, but I think it's interesting trying to figure out how to use the objects in the game, and eventually you will. Now, this is a massive spoiler alert because these are puzzles, and so once you learn how to solve these puzzles, you can just kind of go through and solve the puzzles. So, spoiler alert on how we eventually solve these puzzles. Here, now I figured out the exit sign does stuff. And if you make it big enough, it can wedge itself in the wall. So I'm like, oh, maybe I can use this in this floaty hallway. And I just couldn't get it to stick very well. And it didn't work. So this is when my student was like, oh, just use the exit sign to make a ramp to get over it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I am so dumb. So you have to go forward, and then here we go. We made it out. Oh my God. And here we're looking at some of the fun stuff here. Was writing it down just in case the eggshell. I think those are hex codes for colors. C9, B7, 9D, 3DA 595. I think that's the hex code for the eggshell color. There's a fake cloud insert. And you come up on this first radio, and this first radio is the character that introduces Somnasculpt in the intro video that was at the start of this video. And so new set of challenges. Basically, they're saying you're lost in your mind. And we don't know where to find you. So just keep going. So here I'm in this ballroom. Reminds me completely of just like doing conferences, because there was a projector, there's chairs and stuff. And I figure out that this painting of the cube in its three-dimensional, once you look at it at the right perspective, it becomes a block. And you just make it big enough to do that. And so now we have another block on the wall there, and we need to make it big, but it's missing a piece, and it's missing a flower pot. And you'll notice that table with the crosshairs on it. And so I'm just trying to figure out, what is it? And so chat helped me with this. You see the flower pot there, and I'm so confused as to how to get the flower pot in the right place. You have to do a series of perspectives. You have to take a series of forced perspectives. And so that's the table, and on that tabletop is the pot, and so, or the vase. And so when you form the correct sequence, it now becomes three-dimensional. It comes off the wall. It becomes three-dimensional. And you can then go around the other side at the door and look at the cube, and now it's back. And so here I'm carefully making the table three-dimensional again. And there you go. The table is three-dimensional, lining up the cube. Had that pretty set. This is not a cube like the last one. It is actually a stepping stool, because that is a little bit harder. And there you go. I made it. Huzzah! And here I got to make a door from a perspective. So just doing my things. And so I need to get up onto that ledge. And so I grab this, and I get up on the ledge, and I have to line up what's on the wall there, and it becomes a door, which is so cool. I love it. The door was on the column. Here's another Glenn Pierce. You're lost. We don't know. I hope you like frequent updates, because that's what we're going to do. So this one is another forced perspective, multiples. You got to make the cube to jump up. And then here I'm just trying everything. But now you have to form the chess piece, the queen or king, I think it was, from the pipe. And that moves from the door. And then here is the end. Here's where I decided to end the time lapse. Back to me. So that is what I wanted to show you about this game. I wanted to, get it up and over. That's what I wanted to show you about this amazing game. It's something that I think you could probably play for hours. I'm not entirely sure how much replayability there is because I haven't made it through the end. I mean, I'm technically still in the orientation phase here, so I'm not entirely sure what happens. Yeah! They can't keep me out of this. So if you like this content, please let me know. If you want to see more of the game, I can totally play more of the game and talk about more about monocular vision and all of that. But I think that really gives a good sense of where we're of what this game is about, and like its awesome connection with sensation and perception. I really do love games that play with our senses, well, just our sense, but our sense of depth and our sense of perspective and all of that kind of stuff. It's really cool, and I'm really a big fan of this game. If you have any questions, if you have any suggestions, please leave your comments down below. I will link to the Steam version in the description. So if you want to play this game for yourself, it does need a little bit of graphics, but I mean, it's available on all platforms on Steam, and I think you can get it on other places as well. That's going to be it for this. Thanks for watching. Bye.